Hey guys, what's up? It is me, Sarah, and Pat here talking about WWE Crown Jewel 2022. It just ended an hour ago. I think it was an
Yeah,
hour
I think an
ago.
hour ago. Yeah.
And instead of doing a watch along this time, we thought we would just talk about it afterwards, which I am happy that we didn't do a watch along,
Me
honestly.
too. Me too.
Because the pay-per-view wasn't bad. Like, okay, so let me see what are your like initial feelings about it, like without going into any too much detail?
Yeah,
How do you feel like now that the show's over?
I thought it was a nice B minus, like B at the best. Like
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, overall, it wasn't an amazing pay per view, but there were good matches that told good stories. So to me, I liked it for that. As the show overall, like it was just okay. I don't. I think this there were certain matches throughout it that made it a good pay per view, but overall, yeah. I mean, I'm not like, oh, that was amazing, or this did something. I don't know. I'm just like, it was good. It did its job. That's kind of what I'm at.
It kind of, to me, kind of felt like what's the word I'm looking for? Like when there's just a champion that holds the title just until like someone returns or something. What?
Aaron Carter died.
Oh, I know. I already know. Um
Oh my.
Anyway, so I it kind of just felt like that. Were you even listening to me?
Sorry, I was trying to retweet the our stream for all of our peeps to tune in, and I opened up Twitter and saw that. So I'm kind of like, I was trying to listen and share the show and get more peeps involved, but I saw that news. So I'm sorry. I apologize, but I am listening now.
Okay, so it felt like when they just put the champion, like the title on somebody, and it's basically he's just like a placeholder
Mm-hmm.
until someone else comes back. Like I felt like that's how this pay per view felt. It just kind of felt like it was just setting up to further the storylines. Like it just didn't feel like anything really came out of this. Like there's nothing that drastically changed any storyline. Nothing like over the top happened.
I
Like
agree.
it just
I would
kind of
agree with that.
it just feels like this was another chapter in the book for all of the storylines basically, and not the ending of any of them, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
That's just kind
Their
of how I felt.
battles ended, wars did not.
Yeah, so
Okay.
um I just kind of felt like it was a pay-per-view that I don't know, like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. There were great moments, but I wouldn't say that this was like one of the best pay-per-views that we've seen from Triple H so far.
No, and that's kind of where I, being the middle person and just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I understand what Crown Jewel had a job, and it was to be a solid pay per view before Survivor Series,
Mhm.
and that is exactly what it did. It was not bad where you're leaving like, where are they going with this? Like, what's the next step in the company, and where are these feuds going? The feuds are relatively staying the same. Now it's just like, all right, it's bolstering those factions up and making them a little bit stronger. Even with Bailey losing, but Damage Control winning, that boosts them up a little bit for War Games. And, you know, Roman Reigns beating Logan Paul, that just gets that fad and, kind of, superstar, just dream celebrity match out of the way so that they can focus on, I would say, the Bloodlines next feud, not Roman Reigns, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So they can kind of work on Reigns coming to the end of his, where I think this was like, I would say, the peak of where Roman's going to go with his title reign. And it's just now it's going to be that avalanche coming down before he eventually gives up the title. I'm not saying the next time he fights he's going to lose it, but we're working towards him getting the belt off him, whether it be to someone outside of the bloodline, whether it be to Sammy, to Jay. It's just we're working towards that, and that's what I think this pay per view did.
Well, I mean, I feel like I have nothing to add to that. Uh, but
All right.
let's go over the show match by match because I feel like that is
Right.
the easiest way to really talk about how we felt. So, surprisingly, I feel like this kind of shocked a lot of people that the show started off with Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. The news broke, I think, a little bit like an hour or so before the pay per view actually started, and I kind of liked it, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I liked that they were going with it, but I definitely did not like the match. I don't know how you felt, but um
I was
oh, you
I
didn't you
I
you
was
didn't see it.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's I'll just say that I am kind of happy I didn't see this match out of everyone because did wake up a little bit late this morning. You know, we like to sleep in on the weekends, and I was like, oh, what match am I gonna miss? Because I knew I was gonna miss at least one, and I'm happy I missed this one because as soon as I saw your text about, well, Lashley's kind of beating him up and roughing him
Mhm.
up, I'm like,
Mhm.
good. All right, this I'm not missing anything. You expect this from this type of match where Lashley's just gonna beat Lesnar up. Lesnar wins, obviously, and I kind of felt that was coming. But what did shock me is Lashley getting into it after the match. That gives Bobby a lot more momentum now, where it's not just like, oh, Brock's back and squashing people. It's like, no, like Brock is making enemies, and actually we're getting, storylines with Brock, and it doesn't have to do with a title. It's just about being the strongest and baddest man.
Well, and I think that basically this match was just a setup for them to have a third one, and a lot of people think that it's going to happen at Mania. I feel like that's quite a ways away for
It
that to
is.
happen. Like it just seems like, I mean, it's like what, a little less than 6 months away. Like it seems kind of silly to have them have it now to then be like, oh well, now they're each 1-1 against
It's,
each other. Let's wait until April. Like no, I mean it seems like the like what you were saying, the end of it, I mean, the fact that it was such a weird ending and then just what Lashley did afterwards, it just doesn't seem to me like something that's ending here and we're not going to see Lesnar again for like a few weeks or months because he did just randomly pop back up to have this match. So that seemed weird to me. Um but I mean, who knows? Because the Triple H era is still, even though it's exciting and fun and whatever, it's still kind of hard to get into that mindset, that breaking out of the Vince mindset that you like get into for so
yeah,
long
no,
because
absolutely.
he did things so predictably for the most part. So
And that's one thing we're seeing with this Papa Paul era. And I I love when things work out when accidentally. So obviously, I love going back and watching old Raws and Smackdowns and pay-per-views. But but since Triple H has taken over, I've gone specifically to like the 99, 2000 to 2000 like 1 2ish era
mhm.
because that is where this is going in terms of backstage segments, promos, not only that, just rivalries and feuds. And it's becoming more fluid. With Vince, it felt very forced and you knew predictable is the word you use. Like that's
Yeah.
had a hammer on the nail. With Triple H, he's thinking about the viewer for the next three shows ahead and trying to get them to watch the pay-per-view, entice them by doing these types of things so that there is a bigger payoff at the pay-per-view, which we've seen. And
Yeah.
the details in the storylines and the details in the matches and promos, whatever, it's all in the details. And that's what Triple H is really good at watching these old shows that we're seeing now, that it's not just like it slap you in the face. It's
Mhm.
like you have to really be following along to understand the grand scheme of the storyline, and it's so well done right now.
Yeah, I would say longevity.
That's a
I feel
good
like,
word.
yeah,
That's a good
that's what
word.
he's thinking about. It's like it's not just like, I mean, and I don't know if it was something that was necessarily an issue for a really long time when Vince was around. I would have to, go back and I guess do my research, I guess, if that's what you want to say. But it did kind of feel like for a while things that were being done. It was just thinking about like the right here, right now. Like there was like no sense to be like, okay, well, what happens when this is the outcome, and then what do we do on Raw, and then what happens on SmackDown, or what happens next month? Like it was, I mean, the unpredictability factor is nice, but then at the same time it's like storylines would end and there was like no closure, or they would randomly put somebody into it and then you're like, why were they there? Like it just didn't really make any sense. So I agree. I think Triple H is kind of thinking, definitely like what you've said before, where he's thinking of what the fans want while also making sure that it's what's best for business.
He's really
But
listening to the fan now, for
yeah, and
sure.
then obviously just trying to make sure that the storyline can progress in a way that makes sense. So, um, moving on. So the next match was Damage Control versus Asuka and Alexa
My girls are
uh,
back on top.
for the WWE Women's Championships. Oh, you know what? Since we're talking about this reminded me.
I love you,
You would have
Dakota.
missed this as well unless you saw it on Twitter because you weren't there at the beginning of the show. But Sasha Banks and Naomi are back in the intro. They are back in the montage at the beginning that WWE puts on their shows. So,
Okay.
a lot of people noticed that. I didn't, because you guys have to remember it was 9 a.m. Pacific time when this was happening, so I was not quite awake yet.
What time do you wake up?
I usually wake up at 7:30, but then I like will lay back down, and sometimes I'll fall back asleep for at least an hour. So I didn't today. I wasn't ready to
Good
like
for
lay
you.
back down for an hour until about 8:30, and then I was like,
Yeah, you're
I
too hyped.
can't sleep now because I can't miss the show.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that. But so people noticed that, and it was all over Twitter. So if you saw Sasha and Naomi trending, that's probably why. And it's interesting because of Sasha's Instagram post yesterday, where she was teasing something happening that she's been waiting for 6 months. She was just in Mexico, and WWE was just in Mexico. So people, and apparently she was training with some like luchadors and stuff like that, and trying to just get better in the ring. So there's a lot of teasing of like, okay, does this mean that she's coming back? Does this mean that she's leaving? Does this mean like, well, she says it's like in 2 weeks or something. So that's right in time for this AEW pay-per-view, or it's right in time for this New Japan, or it's right before War Games. So like there's all of these, scenarios being played out. And then you see this, they're back in the intro. So that's like, They also were mentioned. Sasha was mentioned during Bailey's match, which I don't know that they've necessarily name dropped them since they've been gone, but they meant,
Yeah, I'd have to double check that.
yeah, Cole mentioned Bailey versus Sasha. So I don't know. We'll have to pay attention to that. I'm kind of hoping, this is my thought process on Sasha's Instagram. I've always been a big fan of Sasha, and she's getting to that point where like her backstage antics or her ego or whatever can be very like frustrating. And so I'm just really hoping that this post was more of an indication of her coming back to wrestling, rather than her kind of like taking advantage of teasing fans and like letting them get their hopes up, thinking that that's what it is when it's not. That's like, I'm just hoping that she's not messing with the fans in that way, because oh gosh, like,
No, she's not. It's a tease for a return
I hope so.
at War Games. And did you see the trailer or preview or hype video, tomato potato, whatever you want to call it,
For War Games?
For War Games.
Yes. I thought it was nice because for those of us who maybe don't have a lot of experience watching NXT when they did that, I was like, oh, okay, so like it tells you right in there what exactly a War Games match is. So I'm interested in the match for sure, and I'm wondering if there's how many, like, is there going to be stipulations, like if these people win, they're going to be the number one contenders, or like what is it? I'm just curious because I feel like that would just make it a lot more interesting.
Oh yeah.
And an added aspect that kind of is like a motivating factor for whoever they put in the matches.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be a pretty cool time for Sasha and Naomi to come back. But I'm also curious if they're going to bring them back solo or as a tag team. I'm very curious about that.
Okay, the I you know how I think with storylines and returns and whatnot. My what I'm thinking they should do, and in this my mind, it's the only way. You bring Sasha back and either have her feud or team up with Damage Control. And then you bring Naomi back and have her join the bloodline. So
I need
what
it.
that does is now that opens up rivalries and battles between like Damage Control and Judgment Day and the Bloodline
Yes, that's what
versus
I was going to
Judgment Day.
say.
And
Because
then you get Liv Morgan in the OC, or if Wyatt wants to do his split personality thing, because I know I saw I missed an interview with Alexa Bliss, but I did
yeah,
see
we're going to
that
talk about that. Yeah.
yes, but
Yeah.
now you get her in there. Boom! It's now we're crossing. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm hyped up now.
You got a
Woo!
fan. You got a fan.
That's right.
Um,
Damn right I am. You know
so,
why?
but he's always on your side. This is the thing. He was here during our watch party of Extreme Rules, and he was on your side the whole time, and I didn't appreciate it.
Well, he agrees with a
No, because
champion.
he was trying to torture me with
I,
Gacy.
oh, well,
Remember
Gacy's
saying it was going to be
hilarious.
Gacy? I don't appreciate it.
Well, now Gacy he's got his own little
Yeah,
line in the bloodline now.
thank goodness. I know. But anyway, okay, getting back on track. So, yes, so there was like this pre-match interview, and the Bray Wyatt thing popped up on the screen like as Alexa was talking. So this is the thing. So obviously we know the match happened, and we can get into details if we want in a second, but we know that the reason why, I mean, basically Alexa and Asuka lost was because Nikki Cross came in and put a move, did something to Alexa, which then resulted in her being pinned. So this is the theory, or there's a few theories. So
Few awesome theories.
disgusting. So it could be Alexa has something to do with Wyatt, which we know that they have that connection because she was paired with him during the Fiend era. Or is it Nikki Cross who is going to be joining Bray? Which I feel like that seems more intriguing given her history right now. Like she just transitioned from Nikki ASH back to like who she was before. So to me that seems way more interesting and way more on par with what Bray is currently doing than it would be for Alexa. As much as I was like hoping and praying that we were going to see Alexa back with Bray because I was like this is going to be awesome, I don't feel like it makes any sense with her current storyline. So Nikki Cross, yeah, see, he was like, Nikki is back to being psycho. I'm
Yeah,
like,
when she
yeah,
was
I
with
need it.
oh, what are they called? It was Eric Young.
Oh
They were
yeah.
what are they called? They
Ugh,
had
I
the
can't
plane
remember.
entrance.
No, I know. Because Mia Yim
Oh,
was in it too,
someone
right?
in was she?
Was Mia Yim in it?
No, she had to be in something. No, there was
No, she
no
was in
way.
that thing where they wore the masks and stuff, didn't she? And Mia
Yeah, but
came back.
this is really me. Was it? You could be right. That's what I'm just like. I remember it was
No, I
it
know, I
was the
remember.
heli.
Was
Oh, I
Mustafa? Was Mustafa
no,
Ali?
no,
Okay, so
no,
then
no.
Mustafa and Mia were in a thing together.
Okay, this is more like a schism type of thing,
No,
but
I know.
like
I know. Okay, I'm gonna try and search it. Nikki
yeah, what
Cross
it
and
is
Eric
Showtime
Young.
Eric Young, which seeing
Oops.
him go from Showtime
Sanity.
to
Sanity.
Sanity. That's what it
Yes.
was. Sanity was awesome. I
Okay,
liked
so it's
Sanity.
Nikki Cross, Eric Young, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf slash Alex Tischer, and Sawyer Fulton. Whoever
Yes,
the
they're in
fuck
because
those people are.
WWE 2K. I used to do my universe
Retribution.
mode. Yeah,
Retribution. I couldn't yeah,
Retribution.
I'm like, of
That's
course I can't
it.
think of it. But, yeah, no, they were saying that Mia was gonna be coming back,
I did
apparently.
see that too, and I like that.
I do too. And it just goes hand in hand with why I think that the women almost are, like, almost needing their own show during the week where we
They're
can
going
hold that.
to.
But wait,
We're going there.
oh, we're going there? Okay, so I'm gonna
No,
write about
that's
it. I wanna write an
do it.
article about it.
Absolutely do it. I think
Um,
it's actually going there.
so this is my thought process because, you know, they did the all women's pay-per-view, and they did it, what, 2 years in a row, and that was it, I think.
I thought there was only
Which
one.
no, they did it twice. I know they for
I
sure.
was out of wrestling for a bit, so it
Okay.
might have been, yeah,
So,
in that time.
that was awesome, and I think that the division is, like, in a much better place than it was at that time. Like, I think there's a lot more people invested in it than it was. Like, it was great that it happened at all, but I think that, especially now that we're in the Triple H era, we know, like, women's wrestling is going to be thriving and getting better. So, I would not be opposed to them doing that again. But also, I was thinking about this, and that's why I wanted to write about it, because we keep there's just so many talented women in WWE right now that it's almost like unfair for them to not have their own show, because they can only fit so many of them on Raw and SmackDown, and especially SmackDown, it has a whole hour less. So, um I would love for them to have their own thing, because not that they can't be on Raw or SmackDown, but then to have them, like, more featured. And then I think also the introduction of mid-card titles to the women's division, we need it, because I mean, there's interesting things, like, look, if you watch SmackDown last night, Sonya Deville versus Liv Morgan. No title there, but it's an interesting
So
storyline and it
good.
was a fun match.
That was a really good match. I did enjoy that a
So,
lot. I did.
yeah, and we don't get a lot of that. A lot of the women's storylines are circled around a title. There's not a whole lot of other stuff going on. And so I'm like, well, if you gave them their own show, then they could, and the mid-card titles, obviously, then it gives them, like, more things for them to do. It allows way more women to get involved. I mean, Dana Brooke is the 24/7 champion. She doesn't even, like, when's the last time she was on Raw or
I thought they
SmackDown?
scrapped it. I thought they scrapped that title.
I honestly, I don't know. I just know that she was all super offended over Seth Rollins saying something about her. So,
Yeah, I don't.
I don't even know, but yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah. So, what's next?
Oh, well, we didn't talk about, like, how did you feel about the match? Did you see the match?
Damage control?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So,
was awesome. I thought that was a
you're
really
happy.
good match. I'm
So
happy that. Oh, absolutely happy they're
what
tag team champs.
oh, so apparently the 24/7 title is only a live event title now. That's so ridiculous.
Oh, I like that. I like
So
that.
what was the point, though, of Alexa and Asuka winning and having the titles for 5 days?
Um,
What was the point of that?
Nonsense. It's the
That's what
nonsense rule in wrestling
like,
where
I'm just confused, because if it was like they were just like an interim champion or the interim champions, it would have made more sense if the titles then went to somebody else. Then they took the titles off Damage Control and then 5 days later gave them back.
I really don't know why. I just anytime I see something like this happen in wrestling history, I just chalk it up to the guy need to get over. They just wanted to like this. I don't know. I just don't know. So I chalk it up to nonsense. And
Well,
it's
and I'm
to get them on the pay per view. Well, like you could have anyways though.
yeah, because they could have just not had the match on
They
Monday.
could have
But
just not had the match. That's my thing. And that's a weird thing in wrestling where I am obviously, as we know this, I'm a person who likes to find the answer to things. But when I can't, and it's too convoluted, you just say like whatever. Let's just let it play out, as my good friend Matt Hardy says. So
alrighty.
I
Moving
say it.
on. Moving on. So, Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a steel cage match.
I would say the sleeper match of the show.
I have mixed feelings. First, we texted each other about it, or at least I posted about it, and then you texted me and I agreed. Karrion just has one of the best entrances in WWE right now.
It's so good.
And I only say for WWE because I'm not experienced enough in all of professional wrestling to say in general he has one of the best, but it's so good. It's just so good every single week. And so that was really cool to see, because obviously the stage was, I mean, much bigger on this show. Scarlett looked great as always.
Always. That was weird.
I felt like the match was good, and obviously they had Scarlett interfere with the spray in the eyes and
If you're
and
getting the
whatever.
ref, what about that?
I know.
F the ref. What?
I know. I'm like, thank God it's probably just like water,
Oh yeah.
or she's fired. I had two thoughts when I was watching it. Is one, I wanted more brutality because of the how long they've been feuding, and then the fights in the parking lot and the backstage brawls and all of that. Like, it just felt like there needed to be more brutality in this match. And I didn't like the escaping of the cage when, like, because I feel like if it were more brutal, it needed to be a pin or a submission. Like,
Okay.
I don't love the escaping of the cage, especially when they're both giant men. Like, it's just like, come on now. Like, these are not men that are gonna be like, no. Like,
No, I see what you mean, but doesn't wouldn't you say that that goes against the predictability factor of like, yeah, you expect these guys to just absolutely, but it was more of a mind games type match where it was to get out of the cage, and it's there's more story
I think
intertwined in there, and Scarlett screwing I almost said screwing Bray, screwing Drew by locking the cage door, and he's like, wait, I can just climb out. Like, that was brilliant, to the fact that like
and then it bit
Drew is
her. Yeah.
stop. He's not getting in his own way
Yeah.
anymore. He's deciding, like, that stuff, the nuances like that, I thought were brilliant, and that's why I think loved the match a lot more than others would.
Mhm.
But I still only reason I believe Karrion didn't get pinned was to save him. Yes, I and that's the other thing is that's a great kid. You rock.
Well,
That's it.
okay.
That makes sense.
I can't disagree with that, but I still was hoping to see more brutality. Just given how like brutal
Okay,
their
fair.
feud has been, I was just really hoping
Absolutely.
that there was just going to be a little bit more to it, especially being in a steel cage. I was just kind of
Yeah.
hoping. I mean, I'm glad that Drew won. It was time for him to get a W.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a good match. It wasn't bad. I just had some more hopes of it just to carry the story. But obviously, this still leaves the door open for them to continue it in some way. How where they go from here, I don't know, but I'm interested. This didn't make me not interested. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, I was hoping that they weren't both going to be able to like walk away from the match. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at the end, it was like, has the match happened? Because they were both just like, yeah, like, and talking to the camera. And I was like, oh man, I was really hoping that one of you was going to be like keeled over in the corner, just like, like, I don't know. I was just hoping for
What
it to
if
be,
that, because this is their second, their third is gonna be in like a Hell in a Cell or a structure
yeah.
like that,
Well, that's what
where
I'm
it's
saying is,
just
yeah,
all systems go.
yeah, no DQ, last man
Yeah.
standing, something.
Yeah.
Possibly. We shall see. Then that brought us to Judgment Day versus the original club. First of all,
Viva la raza!
okay, stop. The original club, I love their new song.
I do too.
I like their old one too. It's on my Spotify playlist.
What we
But this
Omen in
one,
the Sky?
yeah, I love that
We
one.
are the Omen. Yeah, I do too.
But this one just feels more fitting. Like, it feels a little bit more like intimidating, I think, than that one. So I was definitely here for it. I was thinking that they were going to have like a woman with them, but they didn't, and I'm still curious because I think it's going to happen at some point. If they're going to, I mean, this seems like this is going to keep happening, this feud, because of Rhea interfering and basically helping the Judgment Day win again.
Yeah, she's always just getting in the way and low blowing guys and just finagling her way in the match when she shouldn't be. And that's the storytelling I like to see. But not only that, like, they just keep getting screwed. And maybe this is time where you send Liv Volt, because a lot of we're seeing like Mia Yam and other people rumored to be coming back. Emma already came back. What if we see Liv go to Raw and go on and with the OC, and that's where her direction of her character goes, because she's a little bit crazy in that way, where, like, I don't know, she's
Or
like the wrestling.
what if they put Mia with her, with them?
Oh,
I
that could be
mean,
good. See, there you go. They could do that too.
um,
I'm trying to think of past, like, that's the thing. I'm trying to think, like, from the past of Rhea, that would make sense. Maybe Charlotte.
I'd hate that.
I would love
Um,
that though. I kind of would love that.
well, because then who else? The people were saying, Raquel Rodriguez. I saw people saying that,
Oh,
but I
that'd be
felt
so
like she
good.
didn't match up with them. Like, I just felt
No,
like
she wouldn't, but it would
you're
be
just
sick.
saying it because she's another like big strong
Yeah,
woman.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my original thought was like Beth Phoenix, but of course they're selling that she's like you know, away and sleeping somewhere.
They called it the
Because
late great. Like what?
oh, did Michael Cole say that?
Yeah, he's like, Rhea said she's paying homage to the late
Oh,
great. I was
oh
like,
yeah. No,
what?
that's well, if that's what Rhea's saying, then I think
No,
that's
that's what I mean.
hilarious.
Yeah, like that's hilarious. Like
Yeah.
that. Like oh, I don't know. Like that popped me.
Um, so yeah, I'm just curious to see what they end up doing in that aspect because I think they're gonna have to bring a woman in, but I'm curious because I'm like, I don't have any expectations. I don't know that there's no front runner in my mind. So I just
Mhm.
feel like that kind of is exciting. And I thought the match was good. And I'm glad the Judgment Day won because I feel like they need it. The original club doesn't need it, but they'll win at some point, obviously, especially probably when they add a woman, they'll get the win and then they'll do another match or something, or the women will fight. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm wondering, do we know if Rhea is cleared technically because she was gone for a while because she had some health
Yeah,
issues?
she's wrestled at live events.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because we haven't seen her in the ring since she came back, so I'm like, is she cleared? But
No, yeah,
yeah.
she's wrestled at live events.
So well, then that's good. Um, but yeah, I like the direction that the Judgment Day is going. I still am just not. I'm not 100% on board with Dominic.
I love it. I love the way they're building him up.
But like,
It's
what are
just
they building?
that he's
Like,
just right now, like he's under brainwashed and all this, and he's actually like pretty good in the ring when I watch him. Like he's
no, yeah,
decent in the ring. So now with the Judgment Day, like he can just learn how to go on a mic by himself, and that's what Rhea's there to help him with. And like that heel of having a manager on your side, that's very old school way of bringing up somebody too as a heel. So they're doing like a lot of different things within the Judgment Day, and to me, I see him being like either not turning on the Judgment Day, but within a year and a half, I think we could see him being like a top heel as like the next luchador or something like crazy like that, where he actually goes and becomes like a version of Ray and Eddie in a way, and just like takes that next step and breaks out. Because he's got good moves in the ring. I mean, he's been a tag champ before. The issue is he just is not good on the mic whatsoever, and that's what he's in Judgment Day for, to help him with that, with the different segments and promos they do.
you have really high hopes for him. That's
I
nice.
just when I see talent, I know it. It's like the eye test. When I see
I
good
just
talent,
know the it factor.
yeah. Why do you think I am the champ? Like, come on,
All
we
right.
know this.
Anyway, let's move on. Braun versus
Double champ, actually,
Omos. I always want to call him Almost because that's how his name is spelled, but I guess it's
and
Omos.
almost a champ.
This was
He's almost got it.
I mean, I liked his new gear.
Yeah,
That was nice. But this, if like people want to talk about bathroom break matches, no disrespect to them, but that was that.
yeah.
I
I
just
thought
was
almost was good though.
Yeah, no. I'm saying like I mean I just wasn't invested in their storyline. Like I just don't care because it's just one of those matches that we've seen over and over again of the two biggest guys in the company are like, "Oh, like we need to fight and like let's prove that I'm the biggest bad guy." It's just like, "Okay, we get it." Like I'm just, they can't do a whole lot against each other. A lot of it is just like throwing each other on the ground and whatever. So, I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It
You
was
don't
just one
like
of
big meaty men slapping
slapping
meat.
meat. No. And when I do, it's Big E. I just like watching Big E slap some meat. You know what I mean? That's it.
I know. I know.
Um. Anyway, so I basically just rated this a meh.
Yeah, I thought it was decent. Thank God I couldn't get up for a bathroom break. I was kind of positioned in here where I couldn't get up at the desk and stuff. So I was like, I'll watch this match, and it wasn't bad. It was
Yeah.
because it was very 1980s to me, where you're going over to the foreign crowd. That's the type of match they want to see, of just
Yeah.
two big guys beating the shit out of each other, and they did that in a
Slapping a
way.
lot of meat.
Slapping a lot of meat. I mean, there were a lot of good spots in there too, like when
There's a lot of
Strowman,
good meat slapping.
a lot of good meat slapping spots. When Braun tried to do the hit stick up, and Omos just absolutely roadblocked him. I thought that was cool. But other than that, like, you knew Braun had to win. It was good that Omos, I still don't know
Omos. Yes.
Omos, He got better, and you can see that he's working towards being like a legitimate wrestler, not just some big attraction. So
And they
yeah, that
also
was
don't let him talk. And then I'm like,
I
you
like
see,
that though.
I mean, that's fine to an extent, but they almost make it seem like he can't talk. It's like they make it seem like he can't. And I'm like, they showed him in the video package that they had of like the Be a Star rally and stuff like that. And I'm like, he's talking. And I'm just
Like
like,
very
why do you
normal, yeah.
yeah, like he's a normal guy. And I'm like, but they make it seem like he like can't speak. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I know what
I'm
you mean.
confused. Like, it's fine. MVP is basically his mouthpiece, the way that like Lesnar is, or I'm sorry, Heyman was for Lesnar or something. But it just is weird because they don't let him talk ever. And I'm like, this is just weird. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, he seems like a nice guy though. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, it was funny. My nephew will see when I'm watching like a basketball game or a football game, or like if I was watching this on my iPad, and then he was asking me like, who was I rooting for? And I immediately just was like, "Oh, the red pants," because Braun was wearing red pants, because like that's
Yeah.
who everyone was rooting for. And then I was like trying to, so he was like, "So he's the bad guy," and meaning Omos. And then I was like, "No, like no," because I am like, I don't actually dislike him. So I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
how do I explain to him that I don't really care?
Yeah, they're trying to explain like the details of pro wrestling to like a
Yeah,
little kid.
but it's
They're like,
funny
"But
because
why?" Yeah.
yeah, because then we were watching the Celtics game last night. Was
Oh
it on
yeah,
last
I
night?
fell
It was,
asleep.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I
And
fell
so then
asleep.
he was like asking like who was I rooting for, and I think they were wearing white, right? Were they wearing white
Yeah,
last night?
I don't
So I
I
was
fell
saying the
asleep.
white, let's say they were wearing white because they were against the Bulls and the Bulls were wearing black. And so I was like the white team. And now he's at that age where he likes to root against me. So he was like, "Go black team, go black team."
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, this is rude.
This is
Uh
very rude of you.
this is very rude of you. Anyway, this kind of felt like a match to just like calm the crowd down, almost in a way, I guess, too, because then it was the Usos versus the Brawling Brutes. And I was very invested in this match. I have become a much bigger stan of the bloodline than I anticipated. So I was really hoping to see the Usos win, and they did. And I'm just like, they're so underrated. I feel like people don't give them enough props for like how well they put matches on. Like match after match after match. Like, they say that about the Brawling Brutes, banger after banger after banger. I'm like, the Usos,
Banger
though,
after
too.
banger after banger. Yeah, the Usos put on a good match, and their finish was awesome. That's what really solidified it for me was the 1D from the top and the
Yeah.
fake tag, or not the fake tag, the tag where Butch didn't know. I mean, it was just a great way to end that because that's how they're gonna have to win matches at this point. Is like moves like that are like, oh, they're not getting out of that, stuff like that. And oh, they were just good. Like I do want to see New Day win though. I want to see this bloodline storyline wrapped up, and I think the first pillar of that is to get the titles off the Usos.
See, I'm not ready for it yet.
I just
So
don't want them beating New Day. Like New Day should be the record holders, not the
they have
Usos.
8 days from
I
today.
know.
I see.
That's
I want
insane.
the. I feel like if it depends on how long. So I had read that they were really trying to push at least Roman to be champion for a long time, and I'm assuming that they want to do the same thing with the Usos, like just for the bloodline in general. And so if that's it, then they have to have them beat the New Day.
Oh, it makes sense. I love that it's
Yeah,
coming up
you're
to
just
this. I
saying
think,
you're saying like from a fan perspective, you want.
oh, I want New Day to win and crush the dreams of that, like for the story and all that, like the New Day. Because the New Day to me are the best tag team of this era. Not even close. Like what they did, they continue to evolve themselves and what they started out as and now what they've become like. And the fact that they could stay together but still do like single stuff and you don't have to just write in a turn. Like that's what makes a tag team so good. And the fact that every one of them except for Xavier, which I think that might come in a few years, maybe like a WWE or the SmackDown World Title one, like whatever the case may be, like that time's coming. It that's where I think the Bloodline misses the step, and I don't think they should pass them. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big heel girl, as you know. So I'm like,
Clearly.
I mean, I like the New Day, even though
I
for a
love the New
long
Day.
time I really could not stand Kofi Kingston.
How?
Um,
I
I-
love Kofi Kingston for years.
before the New Day, I didn't
Oh,
like Kofi
even I
Kingston.
love Kofi Kingston then. Kofi,
Yeah,
I
see,
have
no.
ride or die Kofi
Yeah,
Kingston.
I remember I was like, I was at a show once. I can't remember what it was, Raw, SmackDown, something, when he was still Jamaican, and there was like the biggest like Kofi fan like near me, and I was just like like seething. I was just like, oh my god, he's so annoying. And
He
then
was
there's this
Jamaican
guy
you
like,
crazy.
woohoo, and I was just like, how are you like that invested in Kofi Kingston? Like,
I am. He's Jamaican me crazy.
alrighty. Anyway, I would say that this match was A plus plus. That's what I said. A plus plus plus. It was very
Yeah.
good. And just got me excited. And then we know that the New Day is facing them on Monday for the titles, so that should be exciting.
It's Monday or Friday?
Monday, I believe
Ooh.
it's Monday, because Monday would make it 6 days, I think,
Okay.
until they would be passing them. I'm pretty sure it's Monday. um I feel like that would make more sense, because then you're like, oh, it's Friday. I swear they said it was Monday.
Yeah, see, there you go
See,
too.
but like,
KO and Sammy, that would be good too. But I think
really, I
that would be
swear,
another good one.
I swear it was Monday. But anyway, um, the next match was Bayley versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship in a last women's standing match.
I thought this was the best match, one of the best matches of the night. I thought this was so good.
I was so excited for this match because of the stipulation and because of the women who were in the match. And I was happy about like how much they did too, because I hate when they have like a stipulation and then they don't really do anything with it. Like, I think,
Yeah.
wasn't that kind of something with like Ronda and Liv or something? It was like they didn't really do anything in the
No, they didn't.
non-disqualification match.
No, they didn't do anything in the Extreme Rules match.
Yeah,
It was
so it was
bad.
like, what was the point of that even being there, other than the fact
Mhm.
that it was at that pay-per-view? Like, it just like, it seemed silly. So I'm glad that they fought outside the ring. They used like a bunch of, chairs, a kendo stick, a golf cart. Like, it was just so many
That was
different things, a
awesome.
table. Um, so I was really excited about that. And I felt like they just did a really good job. Easily could have been the main event if Logan and Roman wasn't there. So,
Oh, easily could have been the main event. Yeah.
and I'm just happy for both of them. I was really expecting Bayley to win, though. I was like,
I did think Bayley was gonna win. I did too.
I thought she was gonna win, so I was like a little disappointed. Like, nothing against Bianca. I love Bianca, and I think she's phenomenal. I was just like, I was so dead set on Bayley winning that I was like looking forward to it. And then when she didn't, I was like, I felt like 50-50. I was like so happy for Bianca, but then I was like, man, like, what are they doing with Bayley? Because that is what I think I'm confused about. It's like, where does the direction go now? Because now they've already like, how many more chances does Bayley get at the title?
One more.
But like, okay, I mean, I
She
guess
gets
that's
one more, and then Sasha comes in and ruins it, or helps
I
her.
mean, I guess, but yeah. So I thought that was good. Yeah, the golf cart thing made me laugh. Not
The
gonna
golf
lie.
cart was awesome. Such a nice touch.
It
I
just
like when
like,
they do that.
when Cole was like, where did Bayley go? And then she just like, they just pan over to her and she's just like cruising in the golf cart. I was like, I just started laughing because I
And
was
I
like,
like, yeah,
it was very like Stone Cold esque, like just coming back on the four
yeah.
wheeler and you're like, where the hell did he get that?
I like how they had the match. Like a good portion of it was on the stage, so
Mm-hmm.
it gives that aura of like, no, they're gonna beat the shit out of each other inside the ring or not, and it becomes more of like a fight, and like,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
I
then
love that element of it.
that's what you expect during the men's matches
Yeah.
with like that. So that's why I was saying, like, I'm glad that they're moving in that direction where the women are able to do more of the things that men have been doing for years, especially when they have this type of stipulation. It's like, well, let them go all out the way that you let the men go all out. So, um, yeah. Okay, so Mike said, I feel like this loss for Bayley kind of ruined the whole damage control stable.
Oh,
And
you gotta let it play
it's
out.
interesting because then they won the tag titles back. So if they hadn't won, then I would be completely on board with you, Mike. I think right now I'm kind of just unclear. I think we're gonna have to wait and see what happens at Raw and maybe how they try to navigate their storyline from here. Um, because it is a little bit confusing. It's a little bit murky. Like it's kind of unclear where they're gonna go. Other than that, well, and that's the thing is it could be interesting for Bianca to be like, no, like you don't get a third chance. You know what I mean? Like they've had
Mhm.
now 2 stipulations, big stipulation matches. So I mean, they had a ladder match. Now they had a last woman standing match, and that's the thing too. I think that I feel like the way that Bayley lost may be the door to have a third match because technically Bianca didn't like
Oh,
beat
absolutely.
her down so bad she couldn't get up. It was like, oh well, you figured out a way where she couldn't get up, even though she very easily could have.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think that kind of opens the door. But then it's just kind of like, okay, but how much longer do we want to see it? But since the next pay per view is in 3 weeks, that might be like a short enough time for people to still be invested and then ready to move on, you know? Because I think if
Mhm.
it was like in another month, then we might be like, okay, we're over it. Like, who's Bianca facing now? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
And then we get to the main event, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul
I
for
thought he was gonna do
the
it.
unified WWE Universal Championships.
I thought he was gonna do it.
I
I
Oh
did.
my god. I so my sister before the match happened because she actually watched that one with me, and she's not someone who
Whoa, can we
watches.
talk? Whoa, whoa, before we get into this, hold on. I totally forgot about my guy. Can we
Oh,
talk
Bray,
about
yeah, yeah,
Bray
yeah.
Wyatt?
Oh yeah.
That was that was awesome. I
First of
mean,
all,
this
who does
man
he
is
think?
just my hero.
Who does he think he is? He's the Undertaker
Bray
taking
fucking
5 minutes
Wyatt.
to come out to the. I'm just joking. I'm
Yes.
making a
Oh,
joke.
okay. Yes, he is
Um.
this version's he is this generation's Undertaker, which is why I love it because that's what made the Undertaker so good when he first debuted was this ominous character that wasn't, cartoony or just animated. He was actually a villain and scary. And you can't do that now in wrestling, but wrestling needs that figure. So you have Bray Wyatt be that guy and he's facing his own demons. I mean, and the howdy and the flipping out on SmackDown, like, like he could talk in a mic and I could just listen. Like he's got that cult leader vibe, which is
Mm-hmm.
that is what I think he's gonna become in a way. And it's just I could go on and do my own little royal ramble about it, but yeah, I gotta shut up and you talk.
I'm really interested to see like how they develop his character because right now I'm not on board with Bray Wyatt having like this big stable like everyone thinks. I don't see that right now and that's just my opinion. Um Uncle Howdy to me seems like that's Bray. It's one of Bray's like inner demons. It's like one of the voices in his head telling him to do something else. Because then you hear Uncle Howdy talking. That's Bray's voice. Like it's no one
Yeah.
else.
Mhm.
Um, and I know that there was all those hints that people felt like, with the whoever was wearing the mask, people felt like um Easter eggs were there to be like, oh, it was Bo or it was his uncle or whatever, but like his biological uncle. Um, but yeah, I think that right now, like I'm content with the direction that they're going because I feel like it's so interesting. And even though it's like in a weird way, I feel like his character is like so relatable.
Oh,
Like
so
in a
relatable.
way, like I mean, like for me, just like having issues within yourself, I feel is like so relatable. Not that I feel like, oh, I need to constantly be like checking myself from being violent. Like I don't mean that because obviously that's Bray's biggest thing that he talks about. But um I like that we kind of can't figure it out yet. I think that just makes it even I mean, we were all excited for him to come
Yeah.
back, but this just adds a level of intrigue that I think we may not have had if they brought him back as the Fiend or as the Bray Wyatt family. What?
Well, you know what I like about it is this promo I'll say especially was he mentioned that he comes from a prestigious wrestling family. So
Mhm.
what that to me seems like it's going to be very him centered and family centered before we get that payoff of him with a faction. And to be honest, that's going to be a while. That's going to be maybe past WrestleMania like right around SummerSlam time, where we see this, culmination of, him gathering the troops to make his own family in a way. Like, it's going to be a long time. So for right now, for him to mention the family stuff and then the Uncle Howdy coming in, it's very going to be him fighting himself,
Mm-hmm.
which that's a very interesting direction for them to take his character, because like what if he does similar matches to what him and Cena did, where they're just cinematic masterpieces, and that's how he fights and wrestles for the first few months he's back. Like, I don't, you could do so much with this because of the state of wrestling right now, and it's just
I think they're kind of taking their
unbelievable.
time, which I
Yes,
think
and
is
they
the
they
better
can.
way to do it, I think, than rushing into anything, because then it also just builds the anticipation for like, okay, when is he going to have a match, and is he going to, invite people to make a group, and what is this going to be, and who is that, and yeah, I think that there's just a whole lot they can do, but I'm fine with them like taking his time. And if he only comes out and like cuts a promo and then leaves, I'm like, all right, like that's fine with me. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need to see anything else. I think that he's interesting enough. And it's funny because I said to my sister too that um whenever he decides to hang it up, I feel like WWE needs to try and keep him around for the writers part. Like, he needs to be on creative, or he needs to go on and be like writing movies. Like,
Oh
his
yeah.
mind, like, it's just like, I know, I mean, I'm not saying he's anywhere near that, but I'm like, it would be such a shame for them to just like let him walk.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
think
no,
they
you
know
guys
that
need to
too.
keep
Yeah.
him.
No, he is and his mind is an absolute marvel. I mean, I would love to just sit and talk with him. Imagine we got him on the show. That's a white
Ima-
whale. That's a white
Imagine
whale.
you talking to him and he's just Bray Wyatt the entire time.
I don't think I'd talk. I don't think there'd be a reason for me to. I would
My,
just like listen.
well, and well, you have to now compete with my sister because you both have crushes on him,
I mean,
and and
this man is that. Talk about poetic. This man is like fucking Romeo of wrestling.
oh my god, you need to calm down. Mike says, I feel like people are going to get impatient with this whole Bray story if they take too long, but personally I like the slow burn. And so do I. And I think that people um I mean, we live in that time now that everybody wants like instant satisfaction. Like, that's why people post pictures and they get the instant satisfaction of people liking it or retweeting it or whatever. It's like, but I think that some of the best stories, I mean, if we're talking about in wrestling or in movies or whatever, it's not something that comes right out right away and exposes everything about the story right away. So I think yeah, I personally like it too, and I'd almost be disappointed if it jumped straight to like, I don't know what all of their plans are right away. I would just be kind of bummed about it because I feel like Bray is good enough and over enough for this to happen. There's not, it wouldn't be like, it's like, Karrion Cross just came back and he had vignettes for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. But it was
TikTok.
like, that was it. Like, there,
Mhm.
it couldn't go on for much longer, not because he's not good, but it's just like people weren't as invested in him the way that they are with Bray Wyatt. Like,
Yeah,
Bray
it's
Wyatt is the only one right now that I think could be doing this.
because he tells a story when he speaks every time. You may
Yeah.
not understand where the story's going, but you know
Or what he's saying necessarily.
but then at the end of it, you're captivated, and that's something that I don't think anyone in wrestling has right now, in WWE has right now,
Yeah.
like he does. I mean, even Seth Rollins, or Kevin Owens, who I would put up there as the top two performers on a mic, even they get to a point where you reach a boiling point with them, like they're just gonna snap and hit someone or start fighting. With Bray, it's not that. It's not. It's very dark and villainous, and it's you feel like he doesn't have to fight, and it can keep building and building. Right now, we're not
Mhm.
at that stage yet where he has to show that he can get back in the ring. He can get back in the ring fine.
Yeah.
It's all about, all right, well, if he's doing this, I want to see whatever he's doing right now wrap up, or eventually lead to him in a ring of some sorts.
Yeah. I agree. So getting back to the main event, Roman versus Logan.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely was a little bit nervous. I felt like, thinking from a business perspective, um my mind was settled in that perspective of like Triple H is not going to have Roman win. They have bigger plans for Roman. This would be too big of a like hole in Roman's legacy if they had him lose to a guy on only his third match. Like there's no way, because like I don't know how Roman would have recovered from that. I mean, because that would be held over his head forever. Like they wouldn't have done that to the Undertaker. They wouldn't have done that to John Cena. They wouldn't have done that to Randy Orton. So from that perspective, I was like, okay, no, he's fine. Like it's not going to happen. Like, not to mention, Logan hasn't signed on to be a full-time wrestler.
He signed a deal though.
Yes, but he's not committed to being full-time. Okay. Not, at least not yet. That's what they've said. Yeah. So to me, there would have been absolutely no sense in putting both titles on him, and then maybe he gets on one show a month. Like that just made no sense. So from that point of view, I was like, I'm fine. But then of course, as a fan watching the match, I'm like, like I'm trying to like watch their eyes and be like, okay, their eyes are open and they're looking at the ref. Like, okay, they're looking at the count.
Yeah.
But it was just like so, yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Like I got like, nervous. Yes. And then I was like, hey, and I'm just kidding.
Like, hey, what are you doing?
But did you notice that it seemed like Logan did mess up Roman's ear?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he fucked him up a little bit. I think accidentally, but he Superman punched his ear.
That I will say, Logan Paul could be a champion in this business. And by champion, I mean like give him an Intercontinental title run or like a US title run. Like,
I have a gripe. I have a gripe. Two gripes. One, I wasn't completely cool with the way that they let Logan lead the match at some point. Like I understand like the point in it, obviously, because not many people want to sit there and watch just a complete domination on one side. Like I get it. But when Roman has fought other guys who have been around forever, like even including Brock, like that never happened. Like it was never like, oh shit, like Roman's about to lose. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like there was this prolonged period of them letting him just like get punched in the face multiple times and be like picked up and thrown around. And I'm just like, this is Logan Paul. Like, what are we doing? Like I was very confused. That just seemed, I didn't like that. Secondly,
okay,
why? I got this is like a double thing. Two things with one thing. Why did Jake Paul get an entrance during the match?
Don't even I mean, okay, I get the reason I get it, being yes.
Yeah. Like he hadn't come out yet. But like it's in the middle of a match. Like what the fuck are we doing?
It's
like why is his
pop. It's just to get the crowd amped.
And then also, can we stop trying? Okay, and this might be controversial. I don't know how people feel about the Paul brothers, specifically Jake Paul, but I am no fan.
Jake Paul. I hate Jake Paul.
Why
I'll say that right now.
I just want to understand why they were also trying to legitimize a fake fighter. That's my main like. He's not a real boxer.
I mean,
he's not. They're all rigged. Okay.
No, yeah.
Sarah, okay, I thought you were going to disagree with me.
No, I do not. I want to get in the ring with Jake Paul at some point.
Yeah, it's because you'd get paid a ton of money.
I don't even want that. I want the satisfaction of just landing one.
Well, you know what I mean. It's like they keep wanting to be like, he beat Anderson Silva. I'm like, and how long's the dude been retired?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that he only fights people who are, one, not former boxers, and two, are retired and old as fuck. Like he never wants to get in the ring with someone who like, let me see him against Canelo. Like, no, it's because he won't do it. So anyway, so that was just annoying too. I'm like, WWE, come on, be better. Like, stop trying to act like this guy is like scary. Like, because then he comes in and lands punches on the Usos, bro. No. I didn't like that. I also, I understood it. I have a lot of gripes with this match, and I think part of it is because of my bias towards the Pauls, but still. I didn't like Logan, like, doing the selfies and, like, promoting his water, like, in the middle of the match. Like, very on brand for him.
Yeah.
And who he is. But wasn't he supposed to be the face in this match? So that's why I was also kind of like, that's so heel-like that it didn't really make any sense to me. But it was on par with I mean, who
Yeah,
Logan is,
yeah, it was all like what he would
but
do, and like he would be promoting, he would do because I was thinking this entire time like he's gonna post that and it's gonna get so many interactions,
I think it's
so
already
much
been
shit.
posted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is. I already saw it, but like
Yeah.
he's gonna post it and it's gonna get so many interactions and it's gonna be a thing. Like he's smart in that way where he knows how to get the social media side, and that's what WWE likes, and bring new faces to their show, to their brand,
Yeah.
and that's what he was doing, and that's why he was, that's what was going on. Where from a wrestling side of things, I actually thought he was going to win a little bit because of like the false finishes. He's not bad in the ring.
No,
He's
not at
not,
all.
and
And
I hate to say it, but he's
I
not.
know. And I I've said it before that like as much as I hate to say it, he's actually just like naturally good in the ring because it goes beyond being able to perform the moves because not that anyone can do it, but like if you have an athletic background, like it's going to come easier to you than someone who doesn't.
Look at
Um
Charlotte
but it well or Bianca.
or Bianca. That's
Um
another good example.
but like obviously the ability to talk on the mic, which he can do, it's not amazing, but it's like better than guys who have been doing it
Yeah,
forever.
absolutely.
He performs a plethora of moves, not just like, oh, he learned the basics and like is holding it together. Like, no, he does way
Oh no,
more.
he was.
He
Yeah,
has the wrestling background, amateur wrestling background, but also he can put on a fluid match that you can tell like Roman's not trying to slow down or cater to him because of his inexperience. So, and like we talked about that before, where that kind of felt like that with Charlotte and Ronda's match, where it just was like Charlotte was dumbing herself down to try and help Ronda look better because Ronda isn't well versed in the ring, where you can tell, no, Logan's taking this seriously.
yeah.
So no, I give him complete props for that. I am curious to see where he goes from here because I mean, what do you do after you challenge the champion and you main event a pay per view? Like, I'm just curious to see what they end up wanting to do with him now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see that just because he can go a lot of places with it. I just don't know where specifically would be best. Would he be best on SmackDown? Would he be best on Raw? Like,
Raw would
who?
be a different set of people for him because he only had the Miz there.
Yeah, and Raw's pretty good right now with their setup. I think you put him in SmackDown and have him fight a couple. Like he's a SmackDown guy to me, high flyer,
Yeah.
entertaining. And SmackDown's more of the entertaining side show. And I think you could have a lot of fun matches with people. Maybe even team up with someone. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like team up with somebody and just like,
Well,
kind of just get his feet wet that way.
and what about Roman? What do you think Roman does?
Roman's, I don't. Maybe Seth Rollins. I don't.
He's United States champion though.
I know it doesn't matter to me. I think you just
Kevin
need to.
Owens.
Oh, that would be
Because you
awesome.
know what?
Love.
Kevin, I had read that Kevin's been off TV for a little bit because they had plans for him and Sammy. But
Yeah,
then
I did. Yeah,
Sammy blew up with the bloodline. So they were like, okay, we can't. I mean, like, Sammy wasn't even in Saudi Arabia and they all
he's not
wanted him
allowed
there. I
apparently.
know. I know.
No, I don't know why.
Because of his religion, from what I understand.
Oh, is it real? I don't know why. I just saw
He's
that. It's
From what
not
I understand, it's because of his religion. He cannot be
interesting.
there.
Same reason for MVP. That's why he
Okay.
was written off TV because he was whatever their specific religion is. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not saying it.
Yeah, that's why I'm not
And he
saying it
was
either.
turned atheist.
Oh, okay.
And that's like punishable there. So
Yeah.
that's why they wrote him
Yeah.
off TV on Friday,
So
which is right.
from what I understand, it's something very similar for Sammy, and that's why he wasn't there. But like they were all demanding him. I'm like, he's like the star of the bloodline right now.
It's
So
absolutely incredible. It
I
really
just
is.
so I'm hoping that they figure out something for Kevin Owens soon because like he deserves to get a break if that's what he wants or whatever. But I mean, he's too good to be off of TV. So I'd just
Mhm.
be interested if maybe like, Roman was saying as he was leaving, like that he never wants to see Logan again. And I was like, snap. I was like, yes. And I was like, same here, brother. Like, I don't, I don't either. I don't want to see him either. So I would love for him to kind of just be like, who do I have left? Like, who wants to step up? And it's like Kevin Owens, it's like, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, and then you're like, yeah, that would be me. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, that would be me.
I would go ballistic if Kevin Owens just was like, "Hey man, So I kick things off. Now I'm here to finish things, and then
Yeah.
he becomes champ, and it'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Kevin Owens champion, Bray Wyatt back
y-
in the
oh,
swing of things.
I forgot to mention this. So I meant to say it during the Bray thing. When you were talking about it and how he mentioned family. I mean, it could just be a coincidence, but it just reminded me of Cody Rhodes. Because Cody's like, "Oh, I come from like a long line of like wrestlers and family and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Is there a connection there or what's going
There
on?"
is. I mean, you could. What
Because
if
it could be
Cody and Wyatt get? That would be
that's
bizarre.
what I'm saying. What if they feuded?
Oh, the feuding. I said, what if they team together? That'd be
Oh no,
bizarre.
I meant it like as a feud because it could be like if Bray's like trying to get away from his family, you know, kind of like what Cody was doing for so long and now he's embraced it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Bray could be on the other side of being like, I don't want to be defined by my family, or I'm not like
Yeah.
them and they don't like, and so it's like the black sheep versus the like favorite kid. You know what I mean? Like that could be an interesting dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know that anyone has ever been like, I really want to see Cody Rhodes versus Bray Wyatt, but I feel like that could be really good
That would be good, but no one's
and
talking about it.
really interesting. No one's talking about it. Well, here you go. Here you go. So anyway, so that is our recap and review of WWE Crown Jewel
There it
2022.
is.
The next show is in 3 weeks from today. It is War Games.
I will be there.
You're gonna be there?
I mean, I have a list.
Oh,
of
it's in Boston, right?
I have a list of resources to get me tickets.
All right. Well, then we won't be doing a watch along, but
no, not a watch along.
But I might be able to hop on afterwards. You probably won't because it'll probably take you forever and a day to get home. But
it's like right near me.
oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but
It's
point
in
is,
3
I'll
weeks.
be there. I'll be doing stuff with it, trying to do Twitter stuff and covering it because at that point we'll be having our podcast, which you all go check out. That'll be going for a couple more weeks, and we can get some views there. New episode we just did before this. We'll check it out on Apple, Spotify, and I think a couple others.
So. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at smarshxo, and you can follow Pat at Pat_Pitts. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. I'm going to be trying to put out at least one like pay-per-view type of thing about WWE videos out a month. I would like to try and do some more. I'm trying to figure that out, like reaction videos and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. But until then, we will see you guys next time. See you later.